Ever since last year, Kehlani has been the face of modern R&B, and with her new self-titled album, she really went all in on this classic, smooth, beautiful sound everyone loves. So in this video, I want to break down a beat that I made in the style of the album to show you what's important to actually get that sound. I'm gonna get into every detail of the beat, the chord progression, sound selection, bass line, drum bounce, everything, to hopefully inspire you a bit and give you some new ideas for your next R&B beat. But first, let me tell you about the sponsor of this video, One Audio. One Audio makes high quality, affordable headphones for musicians. And they've sent me this beautiful pair of headphones. These are the Studio Max 2 headphones, so the second generation of their Studio Max series. I've actually been using the first edition of these for about a year now, and I was very happy with them. And these are pretty much just an upgrade of those with even less latency and an even better sound quality. I think these are the perfect headphones to cook up with. They're very comfortable and the sound is great. And if you don't trust my judgment, they were made in collaboration with Cashmere. You know, the guy you get all your splice sounds from. So yeah, the quality is definitely great, and personally my favorite thing about these is that they are wireless. I'm a passionate cable hater, and I think especially for headphones it's so great to have a wireless option, just because it makes you feel really free while using them. I can move around freely, go to my keyboard, go to my guitars, and just never have to worry about ripping out the cable of my headphones. So yeah, I'm a big fan of these headphones, I'm very happy with them. If you also want to be happy with them, all the links are in the description. You can get 15% off with my promo code. Thank you One Audio for sponsoring this video. And now let's get into the breakdown. So actually when I started this beat, it was very late in the evening. I have had a really busy day and I didn't have time to make any music at all. So I just wanted to sit down, play around a bit, literally make whatever without any expectations at all. And honestly, that just reminded me again of how free you feel when you just detach yourself from any expectations and just make music for the sake of making music. So yeah, I just sat down, I grabbed an E-piano preset and I came up with some chords. The chords look like this. I played around in A minor because that's the easiest scale, it's just the white notes. So first I have an F major 9. Of course, for these Kehlani type of vibes you want to go with extended chords, so you don't want just a triad like this. You want to turn it into a 7 and 9 type of chords to just add more of that soulful R&B type of feeling. Then we have this little passing chord right here. I guess this would be like a G sus2 chord with the 13 or something, I'm not even sure. I pretty much just liked going up with the bass note to the G, but I didn't really like the sound of the basic G major chord like this. So I just played around with the notes in the chord, and that's how I came up with this little passing chord. This resolves really nicely to the next chord, which is a C major 7 chord, or a C major 9 actually later on when we add the D. So this chord is almost acting like a secondary dominant to the C chord because the G is the 5 of the C. Then we pretty much repeat the same thing, but I wanted to add a bit of a spicier chord right here at the end. And for that I'm pretty much just turning the C major 7 chord into a C dominant 7 chord by bringing down this B. And that chord isn't in the scale, but it works really well because it's a secondary dominant to the F chord we're going back to. And yeah, in R&B you can pretty much justify any chord anywhere. As long as it sounds good, you can always go out of the scale. So yeah, I use this dominant chord here to finish it off. For the sound I use this E-piano, the Scarby A200. That's been like my go-to E-piano lately. I use that for the body of the keys. Then I layered it with this Triton preset, and this is pretty much just to give it more sparkle in the high end. On the main E-piano I took out the lows, took out a bit of the attack of the transients, some mellify to degrade it a bit, a little bit of chorus, a little bit of reverb. On the Triton layer I added this pitch shifter, which adds an even higher octave, but I'm turning the mix down a lot to just add a subtle little high-end sparkle. Took out much more of the lows and the mids just to keep it in the high frequencies, and a little bit of delay. So this is the main sound. This is the high-end sound. And together the progression sounds like this. next I added this really beautiful layer on the chords. For that I used this Nylon Guitar preset in Triton. I think presets like this, or in general plugged instruments in a synth, really give this classic 2000s type of R&B style. And for that it's really simple. I pretty much just randomly added some notes that are in the chords, which sounded like this. I really like the vibe of that, but I felt like it sounds a bit too cheap. So I added an effect rack preset, this granular exploration one by Cryptic, which just makes it way more ambient and interesting sounding. I rendered that out, added a bit more delay. Then I was immediately hearing a bit of a lead melody, just a few very simple notes, and for that I used Triton. Triton is really gonna be your best friend for these classic R&B type of beats. I used this preset with this Glockenspiel preset. For the sound selection for these Kehlani type beats, just keep in mind, if it sounds like you're in a fairy tale, you got the right sound. So yeah, this is the melody I came up with, very simple. So like that I already had a really cute foundation. Next I grabbed my electric guitar and I played in a few different layers. They're actually really simple. I didn't want them to stand out too much. I just wanted a few more layers to make everything sound more complex and intricate. First I just layered the chords. For the sound I used this jazz box preset in here. A little bit of flanges, some EQ, some reverb, some more EQ. On top of that I added some little embellishments and fills. On that I pretty much only have this preset. Took out a little bit of the transients and took out the lows. And mainly it just layers this Glockenspiel melody. And then at the end we have a little bit of a different fill. So yeah, nothing crazy at all. The third guitar layer is pretty much just a few muted notes for a bit of rhythm. As you can see, I'm using them in a section where I don't have the other guitars, just to make sure not to overcrowd the melody. For effects, it's the exact same as the guitar chords, just with some delay. Next I added a lead, and as you can see this pattern is kinda crazy. I kinda was in that mode where everything I played sounded good, so I also recorded lots of stuff, but as you can see afterwards I went in, took out some parts, pushed around a few notes, added some notes, just to organize it and clean it up. For the sound I used this lead. And I really liked that sound, but it was feeling a bit too cheesy. So I layered that with a regular sine lead and, you know, only have a bit of that character of that original lead shining through. I'm using some different parts of this later on, for example right here. And then I added this very subtle little accent. I actually got that from a part of the lead. It was this right at the end, where I pretty much was done recording and I just went over the keyboard. But it was sounding kind of cool to me, and unfortunately I don't remember the effect or preset I added, but I added a few weird effects to make it a bit trippier until I had this. Which is just, like I said, a very simple little accent that I can sprinkle in sometimes. So that's pretty much it for the first session for the beat. Like I said, it was pretty late, and by that point I didn't feel like going any further. But the next day I went back to it and I started off by pitching everything down 3 semitones. I just wanted to change up the feeling a little bit, and pitching it down like that sounded really cool to me. So now it sounds like this. Then I think I immediately went to the drums. And the drums on Kehlani's album are really interesting, I think, because they never really stand out. They never do anything crazy. They're pretty much just there to keep the song grounded and keep everything together. Because in most of the songs, there's lots of stuff happening melodically. There's lots of different instruments, different melodies, switch ups. And of course, there's also Kehlani's vocals and all her harmonies. So to make all of that work, the drums gotta stay simple. Otherwise, it's gonna be just all over the place. So with that in mind, the main thing of the drums is this kick and snare pattern that was very catchy to me. And then I added some percussion, of course. This is pretty much just adding whatever sounds good wherever it sounds good. There's no special thought process going on or anything. I already know everyone's gonna ask about the drum kit, and I think most, if not all of the drum sounds are from this drum kit. It's literally free and it's by far my favorite R&B drum kit ever. I use it all the time. So yeah, if you want those sounds, just get that. So we have some shakers right here. We have a tambourine with some reverb, a triangle with some reverb, another triangle, some tom kind of things, and some chimes, of course. And for other sections, I also added some hi-hats. These are incredibly simple. It's mainly this simple little pattern. And I also added these accent notes with a different hi-hat. And I shifted both of them a bit because most of the drums and percussion I added are very on the grid. So these kind of break it up a little bit. Next I needed a bass line, of course, and for that I used my live bass, and I think I honestly just did one freestyle take and I pretty much just ended up going with that. The bass line doesn't have to stand out at all. You pretty much just want to go with root notes and a few little licks and embellishments in between. So that's pretty much all the main elements. I added a few more little details. And first of all, as you can see, I have some Kehlani acapellas down here. And I think that just really helps with arranging your beat and finishing your beat. I didn't use these from the very beginning. I just brought them in to see if it works when I had all these elements already, I think. So yeah, it just helps to see if you got the style you were going for. And it also helps a bit with the arrangement to see where a switch up would be cool, or if you need more elements or less elements in a certain section. So that's how I use this acapella down here. I'm not going to focus on it right now, just wanted to tell you that. Maybe you can use that in your own beats. So yeah, first of all, for a little intro section right here, I only use the chords, drums, and bass line. And as you can see, the bass line is a bit different. I just wanted a bit of variation for the intro. So I pretty much just chopped up these long notes and made it a bit shorter and bouncier. Sounds like this. Oh yeah, and right here I actually played in this Glockenspiel lead melody with the bass, just to kind of have it in there all the time. Then we get into the first section with everything I showed you. For the next section, the lead is coming in and the hi-hats. Then I also wanted to add some strings. Strings are all over the album, sometimes as big string sections like in Folded, sometimes as main elements of the beat, and sometimes just as little accents. And for this beat I just wanted to sprinkle some string elements in there, and I used these string phrases. These are actually from an upcoming R&B pack by Vogo and me. It's gonna be released very soon, and I don't want to spoil too much, but there's tons of melodic phrases in here. And we also have quite a few string phrases in there, which are made with actual strings, no VSTs, by my man George. And yeah, it's gonna be a crazy pack, tons of stuff in there, everything you need to make crazy R&B samples. But the phrases I chose are this one. I just chopped it up a little bit to have exactly what I needed. This one is pitched up, as you can see. And then I added this string phrase as well. This is made by me actually, so no real strings in here, but I think it sounds really nice. And that's a bit more quiet, layered on top of this. And I think it just gives a very beautiful transition. And yeah, for this section, I'm bringing back the bouncier bass line, taking out the guitar chords to make it sound a bit less full, taking out the hi-hats as well, and bringing in these muted guitar notes. This is a great example for the a cappella. Without the vocals, it sounds a little bit empty for my taste, but with the a cappella I was using, it was just perfect. And as you can see, I used the strings here again for the transition into the next part. I took out one of the string layers and I just duplicated this note, pitched it up an octave and made it a bit more quiet. And then for this last section, I wanted to emphasize the string vibe a bit more. I brought in the string transition again, and then I'm adding this string pad kind of thing. So just Triton strings, and this is pretty much just going along with the chords. And I'm layering these contact strings on top, and this one is just playing like high notes. As you can see, the chords are going a bit crazy right here. That's because for this last section, I felt like adding a bit of harmonic variation. You can hear stuff like bridges, chord variations, all kinds of switch ups all over the album. I didn't feel like making an entire bridge for this, but I definitely felt like adding just a bit of variation at the end. And mainly I was hearing a run with the lead going up like this. So I played that in, and then I pretty much just went along with the chords, and I ended up with this little chord run right here. First we have the regular chord we already had there, the A major 7, and then I'm pretty much just going up the scale, and I'm not thinking too much about what chords I'm playing, just trying to click in the notes to get the right feeling. This is a B dominant 7 instead of a B minor 7 that would be in the scale. This is a C sharp augmented 7, I guess, if that's a thing. Pretty much just a C sharp dominant 7 instead of the C sharp minor 7, but I'm also raising the 5th. And then I guess this is a regular C sharp minor 7, just with the C sharp up an octave. And then we're resolving back to the A major 9 chord. I'm going along with that with the strings as well, and I also added this little sign pad. I didn't even route this to a mixer track, I just have this sign one shot, and I just played the chords with that. Only the transition chords, and I also went along with the kick and with the bass, and that's how we got this beautiful variation here at the end. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. To finish it off, I just added some ambient textures. These are from the upcoming pack as well. This is just some tape noise and some nature noise I recorded. just giving a bit of an ambience and environment to the beat. And yeah, that's a full beat. I know this isn't like exactly like any song on the album, but I think it captures the vibe pretty well, and it was something that I made directly inspired by the album after listening to it a few times. So yeah, it's not always about directly copying your inspirations, just taking that vibe and making something in your own style with it. So yeah, this is the full beat. Thanks a lot for watching. If you want to get some of my sounds and support me, the link to my store is in the description. Like I said, there's gonna be a huge R&B pack coming soon, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, thanks for watching.
I've been keeping it cute, had to keep it from you whole time. Cause if I give it to you, fuck around and lose your mind. It's a horse on his key.